Hey folks, Fox 13 meteorologist Tyler Eliasen here. Thanks for checking in with us at myfoxhurricane.com. This is what we want to see all season, right? Development not expected for at least the next 5 to 7 days. Things are fairly quiet across the Atlantic, as you would kind of get the gist this time of the year. There's typically not much going on in June and even in July. It's typically August, September, October when things really start to ramp up across the Atlantic. That being said, you've seen all the headlines over the last few weeks. This season is not expected to be as active as recent years. We had a solid 3-4 year stretch. We had 15, 20, 25, even close to 30 named storms. So it's been busy the last few years, and we're starting to quiet things down because we're transitioning, hopefully, to an El Nino in the Pacific. That translates ultimately to a further south jet stream and a stronger subtropical jet across the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. That produces much higher wind shear, which you can see here, kind of that band of wind shear, higher wind shear amounts across northern Mexico down into the Gulf. A big barrier, if you will, to keep anything from coming our way. The steering current turns things to the north sooner, and if anything does try and form in the western Caribbean or the Gulf, it gets sheared apart. Like we saw with Arlene last week, it was never going to be an issue simply because of that, all the wind shear and the dry air to go along with it as well. So we want this to be there throughout the season. It's not to say that we're going to go the rest of the year with nothing and there won't be any issues and the season's a write-off. There's going to be activity that's going to pop up from time to time, and if the pattern is right, not to say we won't have a big storm headed towards Florida or somewhere along the east coast of the U.S. We'll be watching for that potential as we always do, but just understand this season is likely to be quieter than it normally is. Of course, again, that being said, it takes one storm and it's a bad year for somebody. So we're always on guard. We always prepare the same way. Again, as expected or as is typical, June is a quieter month, but what does form is typically close to home, kind of homegrown activities we call it, typically fronts kind of settling down over the northern Gulf. As we get into the early summer months, some of those fronts are still getting this far south, or at least remnants of those, and that can occasionally spin things up. But it's usually later on in the season when we look for more activity. You see the percent of named storms. This is going back to 1950, 27% and 34% August and September. So over 60% of named storms occur during those 2 months. Got a long ways to go. We'll be here with you every step of the way. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.